Right, what's going on, lads? Welcome to the first Footium strategy show with none other than the man, the myth, the legend, Sean Newsham, aka Psufans2. Thank you for joining me, mate, and welcome, everyone.
Yeah, a little take two. We're not in maintenance mode this time, so we don't have to by that. I like the intro. Nice little like relaxing jazz music to come into.
Yeah, it's fun. I built that. Well, I say I built that. I made that earlier because Streamlabs was having a little fit earlier and won't let me upload anything. So this background that you see, the funky little season 7, or I've had 3 hours worth of nightmares. Eventually, I got it to work on my laptop, and it works fine on my
Nice, I
computer.
like
So
it.
yeah, we're in. This should have been a season 6 review, but obviously we're now into basically what is going to be season 7 starting now on Thursday. And I thought I'd talk to one of the veterans in the space, well, especially in the content / Footium space. Not that you've done Footium content, but you've done content on other platforms, but you've been playing Footium a bit longer than me. So, I've got a lot to learn still. I've only been playing a season. And yeah, I thought it'd be nice to sort of chat through what you've got going on strategy-wise, club-wise. I can kind of share what I'm trying to build and just take things slowly is my sort of advice for now and what I'm trying to do, because you can get lost in the weeds of it, but I'm having a ton of fun, and yeah, I'm sure you are as well. So let's just get going.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of shit in the chat, but we'll talk about it. We've had some strategy.
Really?
We have some stuff going on. So like I'll explain sort of my strategy. And Monkey asked a great question. Is my strategy in Footium to spend more money, the same as it is on So Rare? And the answer to that is no. I actually probably go as the more budget route on Footium thus far, trying to do things sensibly, as realistically as I can. So we'll talk about all that as we go here, though.
Okay. So first question then: Are you prepped, ready for Thursday season 7 start, or have you got bits to do?
So I'm not prepped, but we can start talking about it. I actually, usually what I do is each season I'll go through each of my leagues and see what leagues make the most sense and figure out who I'm buying between my academy guys. I move players around, make sure that my things are set properly. So one thing I'll say, like, especially to me, and you just bought a second club, or did you have 2 last season?
No, just bought a second.
So what I like to do, and the way that I think Footium makes the most sense, at least to me as of now, is it's more so the whole of the parts of your teams instead of just one team individually. So Brain said in chat, he was giving me shit. Am I on back-to-back relegations? I mean, technically, yes, but I'm also on back-to-back promotions. And it's one of those things where it's just all there. Like, is my team that I literally took every player off of and ghosted relegated? Yes, that was the intention of that team. So it's like a whole strategical mindset of like how things are going. And sort of like compiling all the teams. So I've realized with the guys that I have currently, makes the most sense for me to have 5 teams, 4 of which I think can be relatively competitive, but I don't think I can make a 5th competitive for now. So typically that 5th team is either a ghost team or it's sort of got my lower end people. So this first team Harry has up, this is the team that I took as the most serious last season. And I'll also give a caveat to last season for me. Last season was really weird. I traveled like 14 days last season.
Yeah.
And I don't really like taking all my wallet login information and all of my stuff with me. And I don't really like to have it on my phone. So I sat down and I tried to decide how much it would cost me in terms of like relegation, training, and stuff if I didn't take everything with me and make sure that I was up to date with everything as I was on vacations. And I sort of calculated it would probably be somewhere around 0.4 to 0.6 ETH would probably cost me a promotion or two, and it would cost me quite a bit in training. I think I did the math when I got home, and it probably cost me around 0.25 to 0.35, so less than I thought. And it definitely hurt me on the training, which you'll see as we go through, guys. And then it did cost me 1 promotion, but I actually had a shot to still get that promotion, but I just missed it. And I'm actually okay with it because of where it was, which was this team right here.
So this was in D3 last season and is D3 this season?
Correct. This was in D3 last season and would have won the division if I didn't travel. I'm pretty confident it would have won the division if I didn't travel. Because I traveled and wasn't able to fully update it in the way in which I was, I finished 4th by 2 points, and I had a chance the last game of the season to win the last 2 games, or 5th. So as you see here, I lost the last 2 games of the season.
Right.
Both of which were winnable games, but because literally I traveled, my guys were just exhausted, and I didn't have the best lineups in those games. That it caused me to lose them, along with a couple of games on the way where my guys were dragging towards the end of my trips.
So you still won E5th though, didn't you? I assume.
Yes. Yeah. So I have currently, last season I had a team in Division 2. Which is Wing Sail, which I bought this team about 4 seasons ago, and it was in D5 when I bought it.
Got you.
So I promoted up to Division 2 or 5 seasons ago. I got promoted up to Division 2. We'll look through the Division 2 teams in a bit, but yeah. I didn't take it full seriously last season, but I basically decided it was either this or a D3 team of like what I would take seriously and what I would sort of mail in. And this was the one that I sort of decided I would at least set lineups. I thought I could get 4th or 5th in the strategy that I was going to have to use for last season. Unfortunately, I finished 7th. I don't think I could have really finished above 6th, though. I had some losses that I really just probably shouldn't have last season. But unfortunately,
are these ghost teams down here?
Yeah, the bottom 2 are ghosts. Wall and Malice weren't ghosts, but they were not great. And then Midge was better than them, but not great. And then my team was slightly above that. And then after that, the top 5-6 teams were all competitive to some extent or better. But we'll look at one of the teams.
Have a look at the winning team.
Yep. This was the winning team for last season, and they may have moved some stuff around for this season. But as you can see, team's pretty good.
56 players. That can't be right, like in season, though, can it?
What?
As in, like, do they keep 56 players in this squad, like this team?
So probably not. They probably will move some stuff, but they also could. Brain said Cocker and Malice are no longer ghosts in Division 3. So like that's typically what happens if people notice and you guys look through higher divisions, or not even higher divisions. Like I see it in like D67 even as well. But what will happen is a team will get promoted. They can't really compete at that next level up. And they decide to ghost that season to go back down. I've talked to the developers a little bit about this. I think it's probably the main drawback with Footium currently, which is people are incentivized to get relegated, which I think is not a good thing to have as an incentivization. But yeah, so like what a lot of teams do, myself included, because it's just the most logical way right now, is teams will ping pong between a couple divisions. I know. For example, Bachman does it. He has a team in Division 2 right now that's called Rustin Tway, and he'll ping pong it up to Division 1, and then it will drop back down to Division 2. So if you go to Division 2 League 1, I know he's in my division currently. So go to the overview here, and we'll see.
What team name right
now? So go to Division 2 League 2, I think.
Sorry.
Yeah, so if you go to leagues and then Division 2 League 2, I'm pretty sure he's in that. But he has the incentive to sort of like go down, which I said isn't a good option. Oh, it looks like he moved up this season. So he's in Division 1 right now, but I assume he'll run a ghost team there this season. He'll likely come back down to Division 2 and he'll ping pong it up. And he has a couple teams in Division 1.
Got you.
I don't see it, but
what would you say, like, so from, let's call it like D7 to D5, is there like a massive gap between those sort of lower divisions, would you say?
So I think there's a massive gap between D5 and D7. I don't think there's as massive a gap between like D5 and D8. If you go to one of my teams, either Kuthwar or Uptalk Park, they're in D5. Now, this isn't the team that I'll likely have here, but if you sort, this team was in D6 last season.
Okay.
But now it's in D5. And this obviously for D6 is pretty good. For D5, it's probably still pretty good, but not quite as good. If you go to the overall league, you can look at a couple teams, and I think you'll see some teams that are pretty decent, especially towards the top. Like if you start at the top, I think those were teams that were higher finishing and were there anyways. But I haven't done it yet. Typically, what I'll do is I'll go through each team. All right, so he's going to ghost down. This team is going to ghost down. They probably, to be fair, and another thing is too, is they look like people probably look through the division. They saw my team, and my team's probably pretty good, and someone else be pretty good. But like this is probably a normal-ish D5, I would guess.
Really, because this is like quite similar to what I'm seeing in my D6 league right now. I would argue.
I think D6 and D5 are pretty similar. I think once you get to D7, it's a little bit of a drop.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because it's all about getting on that ladder of like the silvers and obviously trying to get a rare involved in there, maybe even a gold. So this got 1 silver. Like, yeah, this is a better squad than mine. Way more 50s.
This is a better squad than the squad you just saw. But so
for sure.
For example, like if you go back to my squad, you're going to see like my squad is obviously currently better than this. Now, I'm not saying this is exactly what my squad is going to be for right now.
Yeah.
But once you sort this, like you're going to look, and my squad is probably it's probably pretty similar to that squad, honestly.
Yeah, it's not too far off at all.
So I think
you've got a couple rares.
Probably what you look at in D5, but like most of the top people, if you have like top end guys, they're not running like their 75 overall guys down in D5 typically. Like it's probably in D2, D3. It doesn't really drop that much lower. So I think that a positive from Footium is that there are separations. Typically there aren't like just super stacked teams in D7, D8, D6 that often. And then obviously as you go up, you start running into those teams that maybe someone bought a new team and has a really studly team for this season coming up, and then it will switch. But I definitely think one thing that has to hopefully get figured out at some point is incentivization to ping pong back and forth. It should never be a situation where you intentionally want to relegate yourself downwards. And I do think it is better. So you weren't on a couple seasons ago. They used to pay 5 places. Okay. And when they played, when they paid 5 places, like it made more sense to go down because you sometimes couldn't really get into 6th, 7th, 5th place. Like that's pretty much where your cap was, which if there wasn't much to be paid out there was So we'll start asking how many teams I have. I have 5 currently. I may get a 6th, but if I get a 6th, it would be like a D8 team that like is purely for just scraps. I do end up with scraps. Like I do have a little bit too many guys on team, so I could end up with an extra team, but I likely will stay at 5 for this season.
I'm noticing a lot, especially in this squad here, I'm seeing a lot of younger guys that you've got going on. So are these like higher mints from other academies that you own brought down?
Yeah. So one thing that I like with having the lower levels is typically, at least what I've seen thus far, is mints at higher levels. Now, granted, the mints, the academy guys are hit or miss. You never know what you're going to get. You don't know what positions you're going to get. We'll go through my academies. I didn't do anything thus far this season for the show so that we could talk about everything. But what I found is like typically like a D2 or D2 mint is like a good D4, D5 player.
Straight off the bat.
But he's not a good D2 player.
Right.
So what I'll typically do, Vinkovic is my example. So last season, I minted Vinkovic at D2, but he wasn't good enough to play my D2 team. So I sent him down here where he could get minutes. So it's sort of like how real soccer works, right? Where you have guys that are not necessarily good enough to play for the top team at first, and you send them down to get some experience, get some minutes under their belt. So like, if I left him up in my D2 team, he would have played like 2 games, 3 games. Whereas because I moved him down, he was able to play 10 to 15 games, get 3 training spots in as well, which now he's a 60. Now he's probably a D3 type player, D4 player. So he might move up my charts a little bit here this season.
Okay, that makes sense. But obviously the academy lads that I've noticed now, the higher up you go in divisions, the more costly they are, right? They cost more to mint, which is like the caveat of that, I guess.
Yeah, so D2 mints, I think, for this season are 0.08 ETH, and D1 mints are 0.1, and then rares are 0.15-ish, give or take. And then obviously still lower. Yeah, like D5, I think it's 0.015 this season. How much is yours down in like D7, D8?
0.01.
Yeah, so they're pretty cheap. So they're very achievable to get.
Let's have a
in
look.
there.
Yeah, 0.011.
Gotcha. So yeah,
Like
so that's
go on.
yeah, but like as you see here, like these mints aren't that much worse than like a D5, and obviously as you go lower, they're similar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm contemplating. I was speaking to Bachman today. I was contemplating maybe minting a couple of these guys. But the issue is I don't play right wing back. I know you could play right, yeah, whatever. But I don't. My main formation, like these guys, would go into my secondary team, which is, I guess, fine.
Sure.
Would you like? Are you playing the same formation all the way through your clubs? Like, is there a consistent formation?
Yeah. So what I have found, at least for myself personally, is it's a lot easier if I streamline formations, and the reason
Right.
for that is because if I streamline formations, those guys are going to be usable up and down my team list, and I can move them up and down. Whereas I have issues with some guys like not really fitting in my gallery or in my teams. So if you have those guys that don't really fit, I think there's a guy, if you go to Kuthor, I'll show you an example of like what I have. I just haven't been able to sell him, so I still use him. Look for Williams on Kuthor. He could be on this team too.
Can I just type it? Was it Williot?
Yeah, it's like Michael Williams is his name. Yeah. Pretty sure. Yeah, there you go. Top guy. Yeah. So as you see, he's a 67 overall right forward. I don't run that formation. My typical my base formation has been a 4-3-3 with or a 4-3-3-H or a 4-3-3-D, which basically what that means is I have my goalies, obviously, 2 center backs in each lineup, fullbacks each side. Then I range from 1 to 3 CMs, 1 to 2 DMs based on the formation, right wing, left wing, and then center forward. Yeah, so Monkey runs 4-3-3-H. That's pretty similar to what I run. So if you run through the 4-3-3s here, you'll see like what my options are. So I run 4-3-3, 4-3-3-H, 4-3-3-D.
So that's an attacking mid instead of a
so like, I don't run this formation because I don't have attacking mids or forwards. That right forward I got was like the free forward that everyone got when they added that position. So I don't really run this formation, but I have that 67 right forward. I just haven't really been able to sell him. If anyone wants to buy him, I definitely will do that. So if anyone wants to buy him, I will sell him to you. And so what happens by me running these formations is I can pretty much avoid attacking mids, right forward, left forward, and wing backs. And also, like, one of the reasons I ran this formation in general was I found that center backs were kind of hard to have a lot of. Like, it was difficult. So if I'm running a 3-back, which would be most of the formations that I would run with it, if I was running a 3-back, I need to have so many center backs to rotate in and out. And I just didn't find that it fit what I had, at least in my galleries. Because like a lot of your original base for your galleries was who did you get when the team started? Like if you look at some of these teams that I have, some of the guys are still remnants from what I originally started with. At like Marcelino Lopez, Pierre Durand, Heiko Morishita, I think. These guys were guys that I had original on my teams.
Got you. So
what I found is like I just didn't have that many center backs. I don't know if that was normal or if that was abnormal, but I didn't have as many center backs. But Bullstar brings up a great point. The counterpoint to doing this is left forwards and right forwards are typically a lot cheaper. And what I've tried to do, it just hasn't really worked recently, is I think there's some merit to having one lineup that is like a differing formation so that you have the ability to bring in a new guy that is like a mint that is really good at that position and utilize that mint. So I think that it's something that I've looked into. I just haven't really done it because the issue is I get a guy and it's like, all right, I'm going to train him and he's a left forward, right? Combo. And I'm like, yeah, I'd rather him be a left wing as well. But it's definitely something I got to. Harry Skinback asked a couple minutes ago, so I figured this is a good one. As a new player, has anyone done a plan for maxing the best return from opening potential and getting trained for a season? So I haven't done that. Things have changed from where they used to be. So they used to be no injuries. So you could just drill a guy to 0 or to 20 stamina every season, just like literally maximize his minutes. Now you can't do that anymore because of the injuries that they come in. Like an injury for a guy like literally shelves him for 36 hours. So he probably missed 2 games. And then also he doesn't recover during that time. So it can be a pretty bad thing if he gets that low. But what I will say is I try to maximize my training as much as realistically possible within a season while not sacrificing finishing positions. So I think what you have to sort of do is you have to look at your season and decide like, okay, what is my goal for this season? And then try to decide from there, what is my training goal for this season? What is my finishing goal? Where am I trying to do? The best season was like 2 or 3 seasons ago.
Mm-hmm.
I won my league with 5 games to go.
Wow, it
was awesome. I'm like, oh my God, I can train at will. I can run whatever lineups I want to get people minutes. It was awesome. But I've only seen that where I did that once in all of my leagues. Every other time it's like 1-2 games left, I get it finished. But like that was awesome because I was just able to plow trainings in on everyone.
I did that this year. I didn't have 5 games to go. I had 2 games. 1 or 2 games. Like I knew I was promoted 2 to go, and I knew I could win it 1 to go. Like I was done first. Sure. So like, yeah, like you said, you can train guys there at will. Like I've got the opposite problem to you where my rare is a right forward, my only rare. Yeah. So I'm kind of pigeonholed into having to play these sort of right forward positions because I need to, like you said, you need to utilize your best guy, right? Somehow. Correct. So that's my issue, which is not the worst issue to kind of have. So I've come up with using the 4-3-3 F9 is my one where I can sort of compact the midfield and have, a variety of different, midfielders, AM, DM, and obviously the 2 centre mids, without needing obviously left wing backs and right wing backs. That worked pretty well for me last season, but I only had the rare halfway through. So I didn't like start my campaign. I was a 4-2-3-1. So I had right wings and left wings. And there, as you might see, if I go to my secondary cub, they're all sort of just hiding in there for now because I'm in a position where I kind of need, like, unless I just sell all my right wings and left wings, I don't have any sort of formation now in between my best team and my second team, as in like I'm not playing the same formation right now, or I'm not planning on doing that because I just don't have the wiggle room. I don't have the left forwards and right forwards right now. But like somebody said in the chat, obviously they're cheaper, so it's not the end of the world if I went to sell my, like for example, this Bennett guy, I bought him off OpenSea, and he could be he will be a silver at some point. He's got like 14 potential to be unlocked. But because I don't play, because my best guys are right forward, he ain't going to get game time, is he, in my best team? So
correct. And that's my issue. Is like if you do this, because so Vernon just said that we're on the same wavelength and he's incorporated a second line. The issue is that if I have that second lineup and it's not like my main line, these guys aren't getting experience and aren't getting minutes in. So it makes it really difficult to like sort of get them the potential that you want to get them. So I think that you're right in that you have to maximize your best players and you have to surround them, which again, like that was kind of like how I started with these formations. I had really good CMs at the beginning. I had good DMs, and then I had good wingers, and I had very few center backs and I had no wing backs like in my original mints. So like it just sort of put me into this mold of like where I needed to be. Whereas like now my teams are pretty much geared towards that way. And I haven't really had the ability to sort of move and function them elsewhere. But it's made it so that like I am sort of pigeonholed into this, but I can get out of it. It's not hard to get out of it. All I have to do is buy a left forward, right forward, and an attacking mid, and boom, I have the ability to run that, right? So it's like sort of one of those things where I'm just sort of waiting for a mint where it comes through that I'm like, yeah, okay, I really want to mint this guy. He's really good.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a formation that works around him. And then maybe at the beginning, I'll move him down to lower leagues so that he can get the minutes in that I want. And then I'll move him back up like once he's done.
What's your opinions? Because you're playing obviously a different game to me in that you're way higher up. Are legendary cards players on your horizon at any point? Or is that not something that you're thinking about? Or how's that looking?
So yes, they are on my thought process. The issue is that basically the way I look at it is I'm not going to buy them while the rest of my team can't support them. because I don't really think that makes sense. If you give it a second, I'm going to build out my lineup so that you can see like what my main lineup is, like my best possible lineup, and then I'll explain like sort of what my thought process is behind it. So I'm just going to save this real quick, and then we'll save it. All right. So if you go to Uptalk Park, in 1 second here, I'm going to save my lineup, and you can see like what my main lineup is. All right. So as you can see here, I just set my main lineup. So this is my effective best lineup. I could probably make it slightly better if I involve my other teams right now. But for right now, like this is pretty good. So as you see here, this team is pretty good, right? But all my good players are 22, 21, 21, 20, 20, 19, 19, right?
Yep.
In, let's say 2 or 3 seasons, depending on how stuff goes, like you see the potential that these guys have. Like Diego Gonzalez, for example, he has 12 stamina left, 4 unlocked. Well, maybe in 2 or 3 seasons, I have him at like an 83 overall with like 4 potential left or something. Okay, that is more of a competitive. Now, all right, go to that league. I'm going to show you this D2 team.
Yep.
Okay, look at Kinfield. Or sorry, go to Wing. Sorry, go to Wing Sale, my D2 team. I'll show you this team. I'm not sure if that team is going to be my main team right now.
Is it Wing Sale?
Wing Sale, 2 words. Okay, now look at Kinfield. You're going to laugh. You're going to be like, holy shit.
Yeah, why have I heard of that I feel like I have. Oh, wow. Okay.
So, as you can see, I don't realistically think I can compete with this right now. Right now.
97. He must be the best player in the game, no?
Yeah, but so if you look at this, all his good guys are in their upper 30s. Like after 2 seasons, he loses 4 or 5 of his top 8 guys.
Yeah.
Literally his top 10 guys, he loses like 8 of them in the next 2 seasons.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, literally.
Yeah. So like he loses a boatload of his top guys. Now he has other teams as well. I think Bronbor was in chat earlier as well. Now go to Bronbor City in the league as well. Because like I think their team is more reminiscent of like what my team looks like and not quite. Okay, so their team is like slightly below like what my team is. But he's clearly like probably not taking it as seriously right now, or he hasn't gone through and changed it. Bronbor, if you're still there, have you gone through and like, is this your updated lineup for this season, or have you not gone through and moved guys around per teams? So anyways, back to my thought process, right? If you go back to my Uptalk Park team, my good team, it's not there yet, right? I don't think I can compete with that team. I think you would agree, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, the fact that I don't know the differences, but there's no legendaries there. So I can't imagine it's going to be easy for you.
So, but what I will say is like, all right, let's give this 3 seasons. My guys are in their prime in like 3-4 seasons. They should be pretty high end. All right, maybe then at that point I can be competitive and I can actually compete with him. And then like I start looking through my positions, right? Oh, all of a sudden I have no left back here. Like as you see, my left back sort of sucks. I mean, I have Hamasaki, but like maybe I'm like, oh, my left back sucks, and it's just not that good of a position for me. And there's a legendary left back. Okay, maybe that's when I'll look into the left backs, or like the legendaries, or like my strikers. I don't think my center forwards are that good. So like I have Nieto, but like I think he's like my best center forward in any team, and he's a 68. So like maybe he's up to like a 75 by the time my other guys are in their like their prime. And maybe there's a legendary player that comes out that's like, this guy's an 83 and he gets to a 97. And like, I'm like, okay, that lines up with my guys' primes and the rest of their career. It makes sense to go for that card now so that I can bring him in and really put the team over the top. So instead of having like a 74 overall center forward, I have like an 85 overall center forward that lines up with my team's timeline better. So I'm not just going to go and buy a legendary card that just doesn't really fit within the mold of what I'm trying to do. And I think buying one right now would kind of be a waste unless I bought a young one that would go up with these guys. But again, I think that's probably kind of a waste because the younger guys are going to probably be more expensive and have to train them a lot more. It just probably doesn't line up with my timeline as well.
How are you balancing, like, for example, we just went on that center forward you've got, wherever he is. You haven't trained him from what I'm seeing there. Is that because he's playing for you week in, week out, or game out, or is it more the fact that you've just got him?
It was a combination of he's playing week in, week out, and that I was on vacation.
Got you.
If I wasn't on vacation, I would guess he would only. If you sort by remaining potential open or the available, search go sort by available potential. If I didn't train or if I didn't have a vacation last season, my guess is that of all of these guys that have available potential left, I would probably have had 10 extra training sessions in this group.
Got you.
So like spread between that group of 10 guys, I would have had 10 more training sessions used that I couldn't use because I was out of town.
That makes sense.
And then when I got back, everyone was exhausted. I couldn't train them or do anything with them because they were at like 20 stamina.
So like start of the season, are you going to go out? I know maybe giving away your tricks and tips here, but like start of the season for this specific squad of players you've got, are you going out with your best 11 on paper, or are you going to, reserve one of those guys because you really want to train him? Like how does that look for you fixture wise? Are you like planning ahead? Like do you know exactly when these guys train, or are you just doing it off the cuff?
So I do it. I typically will plan out. Typically what I'll do is I have enough guys at a position that I can realistically train and not give up too much of that guy's ability. Also, if you go to the wing sale team, I'll show you like some of the ghost teams. So if you go to the overview of the league, we'll click on some of these bottom end teams. Click on Brighton Stanley at the bottom 11th.
I got you. Choose.
Oh, there's Rustin Tway that we were talking about earlier.
Okay.
So I think that, so he's a ghost.
Right.
I'll look at my schedule and let's see, when do I play Brighton Stanley? Let me look at the schedule here. So at the beginning of the season, if you look at the beginning of the season, if I took this team serious, if this was my number one team, Hamtown, Rustin Tway, Crow, and Kinfield are probably the literal top 4 teams in the league. So I probably will not be able to do much here, but run my best guys if I decide to do that. Now, if you scroll down just a little bit, I'm pretty sure right there, Bridgelham, Mington, Midge Villa, Brighton Stanley, Westfield Villa, I think a good chunk of those are ghost teams or pretty poor teams. So what I will do is I will use that portion of my season and train with the idea of then I get back into Bronbor and Thorpe Town, and I go back into a lineup where I'm I'm playing these better teams again. I will train my guys during that window where it's open with the idea that then they will be back to good stamina once I get back to the games that I want to use them in.
No, that makes sense. I was trying to do that myself this season. I got to a stage where I'd actually have trained everyone a couple games before the end of the season.
Sure.
And then I was such a noob. I didn't realize that the minutes accumulated then moves into potential. I thought it was just as soon as they do 400 minutes as a common or whatever, they just get the +1. But you obviously have to train that. Yeah, I didn't. Right. So I was on zeros everywhere, and I was like, this is easy. And then obviously I ticked over some of my minutes, and then I had a couple of 1s and 2s.
So typically, obviously, if you're at 400 minutes, it takes you 5 games of full gameplay, or let's say 4 and some sub appearances. But when you have 22 guys that are getting that, you continuously have guys to train. When I left for my vacation on that Uptalk Park team, my guys were mostly trained, ready to go at the beginning. So for example, Hamasaki, he was on 3 potential, and then I played him every game the rest of the season because I was out of town and I just left him in there. And he gained 3 opening potential spots while I was gone. So it goes pretty quick, especially if the guys are playing consistently.
And Rares obviously gain it quicker with the 320.
Correct.
What about golds? Is that any different for golds?
No. Gold, no, but I think someone gets 360, I thought. But maybe I'm wrong. But some guys also have their stamina better. So some guys will recover better. It makes it easier to train them, or it just makes it easier to play them.
Yeah, because I've got it in my main squad now where like I don't actually have a ton. Like as you can see there, a lot of my guys are maxed out, which
Yeah,
is obviously not a good thing really. In some ways, they're cheaper to buy, obviously,
correct.
and if they're older, they're even cheaper again to buy. Um, and yeah, I've bought in a couple of new guys. Like I bought my first silver in Claudio
There you go.
Gonzalez.
That looks good.
Yeah, a little DM. I got him as part of the deal when I got the second club. So
Nice.
I paid like 0.06 for the club, and then I paid 0.06 for him as well. He's on
That's
the
good.
older side of things, which is not ideal, but he has a ton of training, so I could get him up to like a 71 quite quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. By the end of
Um,
the season, realistically, he could be like a 71, 72,
because
and
that
then
comes
be
in
maxed
gold,
out.
right?
Being maxed out, yeah, it would be a gold. I think it's
Yeah,
7 gold. It's nice when a guy maxes out. So what I try to do is like I have, if you go back to my like teams and you run through them quickly, you'll see I have guys that are maxed out, but only typically one or two of them at a position. And
yeah,
then the next teams, I will also have guys that are maxed out, that are similar positions. So what I do is like I'll try to use these guys where it's like, okay, I don't really care if this guy just sits on the bench because I don't need to get him any more potential.
doesn't matter.
So
Yeah,
so like that, like some of the teams, like I'll have these guys that are maxed out. That's like he's there as a backup because I don't care if he plays, and then but he's also good enough to play at that level. So like for example, I think this team Norman is my backup center back, I think, and
this
there's
guy.
probably two center backs better than him on this team. So I just plant him on the bench, but he gets in there with when I need the subs in or the rotation. He
Yeah.
comes in and is good enough to play there, but like. Otherwise, yeah. So if you look up, I have Rossi and Meyer towards the top. Those are my like main two center backs on this team. So like they'll play every minute that they can. When they need a break, I run in Norman. But like if I'm just like, oh, I want to just get some minutes in for these guys, I'm running those other two.
Yeah, like the drop off isn't crazy, 60 to 68.
It's at least comparable that you're not
Yeah,
like, oh, this guy's absolute dog shit. It's not like I'm running a 36 out there. Like he's still good. But like I also have the option, like, do I put this guy on my D6 team where he's the best player in the league and really helps me do well there?
no, that makes sense. What would you say the optimal? I know it's probably going to change, but like the optimal amount of players would you say in each squad? Like what are you aiming for? Under 30, over 25? Like
Yeah, I would say in the 30s. So, I mean, I could do the math real quick. If I really wanted to maximize stuff, I would have 3 per position
got you.
and get 33 would probably be the max. Because if I have 3 per position that are all the exact same player, I can always just train one while the other 2 are rotating in and out. Because I've noticed like you don't really need more than 2. It's kind of like normal teams, right? Like you don't need 3 right wingers. Like you just if you're not playing Gakpo, you're playing Luis Diaz.
Diaz or whatever.
Like I don't need like a third that also plays in. But what I found is that if you have 3, you can continuously train one of them. Now, obviously, like center backs, like you don't need 6 center backs, for example. You could probably have 5 and then constantly rotate one or constantly rotate 1 or 2. And you don't need 5, but I've noticed that's the case. But yeah, a lot of your guys are maxed out, and I do see a lot of your guys are retiring as well.
Yeah, I bought quite a few cheap bronzes when I first came in, just because I was like, it was 2 or 3 days before the start of the season. I was like, let me just get a team together. I think the most I spent on one player was that Johnson guy who's now in Alistair Johnson or whatever. He's in my second team. I paid like $15 for him, I think, because I was planning on playing 4-2-3-1, right wing, left wing, and then obviously the rare came into the equation. So I moved things around because obviously right forward. So yeah, I haven't really bought a ton of guys that have like. I noticed with your guys, we mentioned it, right? There's a lot of younger guys, and you could argue you're not really peaking yet. And for me, I was in D7. Like I wanted to try and get promoted as quick as I can. So that route for me on the cheapest way possible was by older guys who, are just going to get me there basically. They're not a longevity piece. And eventually I think I do need to, and I've kind of started it already, bring in younger guys that can do those, sorts of things for me. Cause those are all my older guys. And then, a couple of these are obviously the rare's the best one I've got. I just recently bought this guy, so Wolfgang Wolf. Nice. I think what's his name? Sores Scout or something. I think it's Sores Scout. He's from Atlanta. I've met him in person. He's a top guy. His name's Thomas. I'm pretty sure I was watching Sore in the States Footium stream, and I remember, I'm pretty sure he owned this guy, and he wasn't selling him at that point. And I saw him on the market, and I was like, I need a left forward, so I bought him. But he's like my most expensive buy. He's like 20 odd bucks outside of the silver.
Sure.
But at least he's 22. Like at least he's not 28, 29. I've got a bit more longevity, a bit of training, and then the potential to go with it. So yeah, I think for me now it's a case of doubling up and tripling up on positions where I don't have, like, for example, I only have one right forward right now. I only have my rare.
Sure.
So I definitely need at least one other, right forward, or I bring my right winger down up from my secondary team.
Correct.
And play just a variation of the 4-3-3 like you're kind of doing with a lot of your teams.
Well, and then with your guy, right? Your guy's a little older, but he's also really good to where like you're not going to play someone else. You're going to play him. So like you probably want like a younger guy that you can use to spell him while training the other guy type of thing. So, but then again, like this guy's going to need training and then that other guy's going to need training. Do you get a third in so that they have some flexibility? But Bullstar asked about if I think 3 goalkeepers is needed. No, you probably can get away with 2. Greek brings it up. Goalkeepers get tired a little more slowly than the outfield players. But if you do want to train your goalie, it's a little bit trickier if you only have 2, which having a third does help. But of all the positions, I think goalie is like the least likely that you need that. And that's kind of why I run like the 4-3-3 variant too. Similar reasons for like center backs. I don't need 6. I probably need 4 to 5. CMs, DMs, I don't really need 6. I need 4 to 5. And then I also like can rotate whatever I need at a given game and flip-flop between the formations.
So my next thing now, I think the positions I definitely need strengthening is my AM here at 48. The secondaries at like a 40. So I think I want to start the season with at least a 50 in there somewhere. So I'm probably going to buy one in the next couple of days. I think I need a better goalkeeper, honestly. At 44 is probably a bit low. He's maxed out. He's not 31, so I can keep him for a bit. But I do need somebody a bit higher, I think, ratings wise. And then centre back. I was speaking to Backman earlier, and there's probably I need a bit of an alpha at the back. I think I'm lacking. They're all the same effectively what I've got right now. I've got the strong DM and I've got the strong right forward, but I don't really have an alpha defender. So that's I think goalkeeper, defender, and then an AM and a right forward. I'm probably 4 players away from being like, I don't know, semi. Where I can compete.
Like I have a spreadsheet. I know you said you have one as well, where like I have what I have at each position, and then I go through it each season and like see like where I need to fill a hole, what I need to get, and then also like it's like, all right, I need one, but it could take me 2 or 3 seasons. I'm okay, or it's like I need one now. Last season it was like my left back. I have no left backs. Like left back is still a disaster for me, but it's basically like. I'm like, all right, I need 2 left backs like yesterday and make it happen realistically. But yeah, so what's nice too, what I've found is that a lot of people are at different levels, and it helps being able to have people that you have good relationships with that you can trade or buy with, especially people that run different formations. So like maybe we'll even be able to come to a deal because like I have some attacking mids, I don't use them at all. You use attacking mids. Similar, like right forward, left forward. Like I have right forward, left forwards. I don't use them at all, but I have a couple. So like it's stuff like that where like I can sell them. And then like I talked to Bachman, like each season, like Bachman, maybe he has some mints or players that have just sort of phased out for him that he's like, I don't really need them anymore. And maybe I'm like, oh, that would be a really helpful player to me. So it's kind of like real soccer in that aspect of like, okay, I talk to him because he's probably at a higher level and can maybe get some guys off him. You talk to me because I'm at a higher level. I can probably give guys to help you. And then other people talk to you because they're at a lower level than you. And you might have guys that make sense for them that don't make sense for you anymore. So I think that there is as good ideas in terms of like having relationships with people, especially like, I mean, it's easy if you can go to someone and they're very easy to work with and you're just like, hey, I need this. Do you have it? Yes, no. And if yes, like, hey, let's get this deal done and like make it happen really quickly. I think there's a lot of benefits to stuff like that. Like we'll talk about academy. Yeah, Brain says that networking is very important. I agree 100%. Like I have probably 10 guys that I'll talk to each season. And a lot of the time it's just like, hey, I need a right back. Do you have a right back?
Right.
No, I don't. Okay, cool. I'll check back with you next season if I need anything new. or like I'll check back with you later, see if there's anything that works sense. So I think it makes a lot of sense to do that. And also like having multiple teams, it helps from a networking perspective with yourself. Like if we'll go to academies, you want to talk about academies?
Yeah, let's do it.
So what I found is we talked about a little bit earlier is that like academy mints for like higher levels can really function well at a lower level. So I actually think this team had just really bad mint luck. Like I think this academy is really bad for this D3.
And how, like, why? What's your reasoning behind that? Just so, like, for context.
Yeah, so like I don't think any of the players are realistically that good or that special. I don't think any of them are like D2 caliber players that I got here. I think it's pretty weak. And the ages on all of them is also, they're all pretty old. They're all 18-year-olds. They're all not great players, especially like you look like Stephen Parker. He is a 18-year-old 48 goalie with max potential of 63. Is that bad? No, not bad at all. But like for me, that's probably not gonna.
It doesn't move the needle for you.
Yeah, he doesn't really do much for me. Even at the lower levels, like if I look at my D5, like I think I have a 53 overall D5, so he's more of like a backup goalie that just is good. But this goes into the networking conversation. You literally just said you need a goalie that's around a 50 overall. Right. Maybe this is the guy that you want. And like maybe after this is over, you're like, hey, this guy makes a lot of sense for me. Can you mint him? And then maybe I'll sell him to you for like a 10% like price. It's like a guy that I'm not really interested in minting, but you might be interested in minting. Yeah. So like I think that this team got really unlucky with the minting. So if you go to Noro, no, I don't have another D3. Never mind, not this season. And now if you go to my wing sale, I actually got really good mints in this team in the academy.
Let's have a look.
So if I look at this, I think that realistically, everybody here is a relatively good mint for me. Paulo Bernardo is a 16-year-old. He's pretty good. I think that his stamina sucks. So for that reason, I might not mint him. But again, like this might be someone you're like, hey, I want to mint that guy. Can you mint him?
I've never seen 43. That's low.
I've never seen it that low either. But again, for that reason, I'm probably not going to mint him. Then I look at Madu Kofi. I'm like, okay, he's pretty solid, has some positional options, decent stamina. It's not terrible. I think it's okay. Hector Romero is fantastic. I've already agreed to sell him with someone.
Right.
24. He has the ability to get to an 80. He's only 17. Stamina is at least okay. It's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible.
Like, what's he worth, roughly?
So I'm selling him. So this is another thing. So I use OpenSea. I'll typically go to OpenSea, see what's on the market, see previous sales. So if I go to OpenSea, you're going to see a card that is like very equivalent stuff. So like, let's
see if we can do it. Let's go AM rarity silver.
Yep. And typically what I do is I do an age range as well. So like I do the bottom two age ranges when I look.
Yeah. There's one guy up, and we'll have a look.
If you go to activity here, you're going to see. Tell me this guy isn't comparable, even slightly worse.
So his max rating is 70. Yours was higher than that, right?
Yeah.
And he's already 20, so he's 3 years older.
Yep.
And he's going for, so yeah, yours has to be worth more than that, right?
Correct. So, but like, again, so I have a good relationship with Bachman. So Bachman's buying him. I told Bachman, I'm like, give me 0.12. And Bachman's buying him for 0.12.
Got you.
But like, this is a great example. Like, let's say I wasn't selling him to Bachman. This makes a lot of sense for you to just be like, hey.
Yeah, that sort of card, if I was to take it serious, that's the type of play I need as a camp, for sure. 100%.
So like, and then so Ferreira, so Brains asked how much Ferreira. Look at this card. Look at his stamina.
Oh my God. Yeah.
This is basically a D1 mint, like a good D1 mint. If you look at OpenSea, I'm pretty sure I could sell him for 0.16. I think realistically he's probably worth 0.2. But
what position would you mint him as?
So his mint cost is 0.0784, I think.
I'm sorry, what position? My bad.
Oh, like, CM.
CM, yeah.
CM's the god position.
Got you.
CM is the god position. Like if you go to look through these guys, like My guy is better than that guy by a lot.
Yeah.
Stamina 96 is I don't think I have anyone anywhere near that. If you scroll down, there's some other guys. There's a guy like 0.16, like Molina. Like I think my guy's pretty clearly better than Molina, or at least very comparable.
It has more potential anyway, doesn't it? 25 to 23.
This is what I said. Like this guy sold for 0.16. Pretty sure my guy would sell for 0.16 at least as well. My guy has 86 or 96 stamina, which is huge. I'm gonna assume this guy doesn't, based on the fact I've never seen 96 stamina in any of my guys. But maybe he has. Maybe he's like the same.
We can look.
Yeah, we can go look.
So
I didn't look at this.
No. Yeah. One thing I made a mistake a couple of days ago.
This guy's stamina sucks.
Right. Yeah. Way down.
So like this guy is literally, my guy's a 56 mint with an 81 overall max potential or whatever. And that guy is an 87 or 57 with an 80 max potential. And my guy's stamina is a 96 is a 57. So if this guy's selling for 0.16, I'm pretty sure my guy's worth 0.2. Brains, how much would you say my guy's worth?
Got to be, hasn't it, really?
2 would be a reasonable number for him.
100%.
But again, so like that's an elite level mint. Like,
but like surely you mint that for yourself, really, right? Yeah.
I'm minting that. So where I'm at right now, which you and I can talk after, depending. I think Bernardo and Kofi are okay. I think Romero and I think Romero's elite. I think Ferreira is like the best D2 mint you could get. Like I think that's you couldn't get better. Bullstar asks, why does stamina matter that much if you rotate each game? Because I could rotate less. If I have a guy that has that elite of stamina, I could rotate significantly less with him. So maybe instead of needing 5 CMs, DMs on that team, I can have 4. So it basically could effectively buy me a card elsewhere.
Yeah,
that I can then use on a different team in that situation. I think Blanc is okay. I think Benitez is really good as well. But so I am talking to someone who I may sell that to, Harry. But if I don't sell him and you want him, I could sell him to you.
Okay, I appreciate that.
So we can talk after I have
good stamina.
He's a really good card. Like this is a really good card. I will sell him to you if you have interest. If I don't sell him, but I'm already talking to someone who is interested in him. I want to give them first dibs. And then Fontaine is a great mint as well. Goalie for me is actually a good position to get right now. I don't have very many goalies, and one of my goalies is very old. So getting him is a really good one as well. So I'm going to mint Fontaine and Ferreira for myself. I'm going to sell Romero and Benitez. Blanc, the guy that is interested in Benitez also is interested in Blanc. If he doesn't buy Blanc, there's a good shot I mint Blanc for myself. If he is interested, I'll sell him. And then I think Kofi and Bernardo are like okay, but I'm not probably going to mint them, but maybe I'm going to have to look at them.
No, that makes sense. So this is a D2, D2 mint. Okay. And you just lucked into the rare. Like that wasn't guaranteed.
Obviously. This is probably the best of Academy set I've seen.
Yeah, this is nice.
Like every season I look through all of my Academy mints. I look through other people's. For like the D2 equivalent, I haven't seen a full allotment of D2. Like let's go look at some of the others in this league, see who they have left that maybe they didn't mint yet.
Yeah.
But I feel pretty confident my D2 mint here is really strong.
Who should we go at first?
Any of them. I know Russ and Tway already went through their mints, so I wouldn't go for them, but we can go see who hasn't gone through their mints yet.
Let's have a look.
Like so like they've gone through their mints. But like all of my guys are better than all the 4 that he has left, right? For example.
Oh yeah, by a country mile.
So
okay, he has a couple.
Yeah, I mean his aren't bad either. I think that at least a couple of mine are better than the 2 silvers. Most of mine are better than 2 silvers, and the 3 bronze. I think mine are better than all 3 bronzes. So yeah, so like as you see, like I feel like I got a pretty damn good mint set here for my Academy.
And that's just pure luck, though. At the end of the day,
pure luck. Like pure luck in a CM. Like there's no way that anyone got a better mint than my CM. Like it doesn't even matter if you got a rare or anything. Like that's
the thing. You wouldn't be. Oh wow, this guy's got a couple.
Yeah, but like so you see, like his center back's actually really good there, and his DM. Yeah, this is a good mint too. Like you got a rare center mid too, 16-year-old. Oh wow, Yeah, this
No,
this
that's
mid
nice.
set is pretty elite as well.
Only 61 stamina, but
yeah, which does matter.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean,
Jack,
the other when Bullstar was asking though, like stamina, it's obviously you want, the higher the stamina, the player can, he has more stamina towards the end of the game. If that means, like he can just last longer, right?
Has more stamina at the end of the game, makes it less likely I have to sub him. He makes it easier to train him and others. There is a lot of benefits to the stamina. I don't really care about the leadership. I don't care about that one at all. But the stamina, like there's a lot of benefits from the stamina. And it's not the end of the world, but Braunbor posted that he had a 79 max center forward this year. So that's really good. That's obviously a position of need as well that is pretty appealing as well.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever looked at the D1 Academy events? They're really, really attractive.
No, I will do that now. You could use full-time whistle. Yeah, I've got full-time whistle up here. I use it to sort of scout out my league and stuff. But yeah, I didn't realize you could do it for the academy stuff as well. What was I going to do? Yeah, let's look at D1 Mint, and then I want to ask you a few questions on tactics and like your in-game type of strategies and stuff. If you're willing to share those, let's just go to D1. Should we go to Bachman's, or has he done his?
He definitely has done his. I wouldn't go to
Fair
Bachman's.
enough.
Go to someone else.
You
can look through all of them, but I know Bachman's done his because we talked about it earlier today.
Yeah.
Also, guys, if you are watching on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe, and let us know if you guys enjoyed this. Harry and I are gonna hopefully do this weekly for a while.
For sure.
Give or take, maybe even 2 sometimes. So if you guys are enjoying the content, we'll do different types of stuff. Obviously, you can only do a preseason show once a season.
Right.
So, but yeah, let's see what these guys have.
Come on then.
Okay. So this is like what they're not minting and what is left.
Right.
And like these guys are pretty appealing. Like Andre Barron, like super appealing.
Yeah, do you think he's just not going to bother minting them, or he might be selling them?
Well, it could be a combination of both, right? Like, but if you look at that guy, Andre Barron is basically my dude, except for way worse stamina. But like, so effectively, Andre Barron is my guy.
Yeah,
except for my guy, I'm getting a D2 mint price. He's getting this guy a D1 mint price.
So that's the benefit, isn't it? You're getting in one, league down, and it's cheaper, effectively.
Right. So it's nice. Like a benefit with Baron, not that it matters, is like if you get a CM, if you get a guy that like is equal like CM, AM, DM, doesn't really matter. Like you're gonna use him as a CM.
Of course. Yeah. Right. In-game tactics wise, do you ever change formation?
Yes, sometimes, especially like with like how I say it. So one issue that I found with subbing is it's really hard for me to like fully change my formation because me going to like a 4-3-3-A, I got to move out 3 dudes, move in a left forward, right forward, and an attacking mid for whatever I had left.
Yeah.
Makes it a bit trickier. But what I will do is I will change between a 4-3-3H, a 4-3-3D, and a 4-3-3, depending on who I have on the bench for a given game. It gives me the ability to move around my, like, so for I can sub on a DM for a CM and move me to a defensive set if I need to. And then I will use the mentality quite a bit, especially if I'm trailing in a game. I will ramp up the offensive talent or the offensive levels. But what I will say is you lose a lot more stamina doing that.
Got you.
So like if I move my team, if I ran my team attacking for the whole game instead of balanced, my attacking players might go from like an 83 or 82 after the game. They might go to like a 75 or lower.
Okay.
So like you lose like 7 or 8 extra stamina to your like attacking players if you do it. So like there are pros and cons to do it. I try not to do it for the full game, and I'll try to do it depending on like where I am on a game with like how I'm doing. And also like I'll try to, sometimes I will keep my better player on the bench and then bring them in the latter part of the game to get them like 30 minutes as 100% fresh when the other team isn't fresh. I try to do that as well and use them a bit as a super sub.
That's interesting. I'll be honest, I've never really, like, I've always had the mentality of, if my best 11's fit and available, I play it. But I guess that is something that's kind of interesting. I had one guy last season, Sean, he subbed off his keeper, right? and then beat me. Like his keeper was like quite low on stamina, and he subbed him off, and then ended up I was winning like 2-1. It was first v second. It was like a big game at the time, and he ended up beating me 3-2. And it felt like I actually streamed the game, and guys in the like Backman was there and stuff. And yeah, I made a mistake streaming the game because I was basically saying what I was going to do before, Yeah, so I ended up beating him regardless. He's been promoted with me, so we're both in Division 6 together now. Nunsville, I think it is. So shout out to you. But yeah, it was just funny because like I'd never know. Everyone was like in the chat saying, "Oh, that happened to me last week," and everyone there was like a conspiracy. Then it was like, "Oh, well, is subbing goalkeepers the new meta?" And everyone, I don't know. I think we dispelled it, but it was a funky situation.
Yeah, for sure. Like I definitely I will also like I will maybe sometimes have shittier players on the bench where if I get my team in a position where I'm like pretty confident I'm going to win and I want to save some stamina, I will sub on a shittier guy. I actually probably screwed myself last season by doing that because I think the one game I had like my main guys were a little bit more tired and I wanted to get them out and get some rest in for like the upcoming games, and I ended up blowing the game. I was up like 4-1 in like the 60th minute and made 3 subs that were all lower level players. And I ended up drawing on the last pick of the game, and I was like, oh, that was a mistake.
I screwed it.
Yep, I was like, that was a mistake. But I mean, hey, you got to do some stuff like that sometimes, especially if you're trying to maximize stamina. Because like me pulling my guy might buy me an extra game or so out of a better player over the course of the year.
Mm-hmm. Thoughts on starting the game with an attacking/defensive mentality, or you always going in mainly balanced?
I think there's some merit to it, especially if like I'm playing a ghost team. If I'm running a ghost team and I'm running like my lower level players and they don't have another game coming up, I might run attacking to try to run goal differential up. Goal differential definitely matters because there's just not that many games in a season. And like, if you're a good team, if you're the best team in the league and there's a second best team that's equivalent to you, and there's 4 ghost teams in league and then like 3 teams that you're just way better than, there aren't many games to gain or drop points, right? So like goal differential can really come into play in a lot of situations. So I try to get my goal differential up as best as I can, especially if I'm playing a lower level team.
No, that does make sense. So if you're a new player coming into this game and you buy a club in D7, let's call it, for $80-$90, would you do the Harry Trades method of buying old and maxed out to get promoted into D6 as soon as possible? Or are you playing the longer game and hoping that, you know, your 24, 23-year-olds that you buy that might not compete first season in D7, let's just call it, like, are you playing the long game? Because that probably costs more, doesn't it, on like a initial, you know, budget basis, if you buy 20 guys that are 23 compared to 20 guys that are, you know, 29, 30, roughly.
Yeah. I mean, I think you need to look at it, right? Because like you buying a 29-year-old versus a 23-year-old, you're not really buying one 29-year-old. You're buying 2 or 3 effectively. Because by the time he retires, you have to then buy another 29-year-old and then another 29-year-old. All of which time your 23-year-old would have been playing. So you have to sort of look at it like, okay, do I spend this now on a 22, 23-year-old? Or do I want to spend a lower amount on a 29-year-old? And I think it really just breaks down to like, how much is the 29-year-old? How much is the 23-year-old? Because I'm going to have to reinvest and buy 2 more 29-year-olds. So like, am I getting this 23-year-old for double the price? Okay, well, maybe it's worth it because I will have to buy 3 of the other guy instead. So I think a lot of it goes into looking at that and sort of calculating what that is. I also think that, so Monkey said he started out in Division 8, minting guys from academies well above that. And then he's in D4, still using a lot of those guys. I think that's a lot of the case too, especially if you can find good deals with like people. Like, obviously, I'm never going to mint a player for you and sell them to you for less than I minted. That doesn't make sense.
Right,
but
of course. I
could find like a 23-year-old that is decently good that can help me get up through the ranks and then bring in older guys as well. But I think Monkey brings up a good point too, that he buys older guys when they're going for promotion. If you have a hole on your team and you're like, oh, my team is really good and I can bring in this 29-year-old that is going to help me immediately for like this next couple year window, I think it makes a lot of sense. If you're going to buy a 29-year-old and just like run out a shitty team that is just pretty shitty, like that might not make as much sense.
No, that was kind of in my forefront of why I wanted to, bring in a few older guys last season. So how many seasons have you been playing now?
I have been here since day one.
Okay,
So I played the beginning couple seasons as well, like the season 0, season 0.1, whatever they named them. I don't remember.
What's Laird saying? I consider trying to play with only academy guys in D8 and just wait it out for a few seasons as they get better.
I think it's not unreasonable, and you can just do it. The issue is, and this is where the main issue is. So like 3 years down the road, you're going to get promoted, probably, in theory. Maybe you won't, but like in theory, you'll get promoted. And then once you get promoted, like the issue is the guys that you're bringing up from the bottom leagues just do not match the guys that are
what's there already.
Yeah, like it, and even I noticed that even like at the lower levels in D8, D7, like the academy mints in those levels just are 5 points worse, 6 points worse. So like it's hard to compete with them when you have a bunch of guys that were lower level mints.
I do really think the way to get ahead in this game, isn't it? You do have to probably have multiple clubs because there's just not enough training slots, right? If you've got a ton of guys that need training and one, like you said, if you're minting guys but they're not ready for the first season, well, how are they going to become ready? You need a secondary team to play them in, right? Or third team or whatever.
Well, yeah, like that. We just talked about how elite level that CM is I'm minting, right? Like, but
he still wouldn't play for you though.
This season, if I look at my CMs and DMs, he is my clear 8th CM.
Wow. So he doesn't get in, basically.
He doesn't. He would not have any chance to play really in my top 2 teams. So if I sit there and I bring him in and then I just sit him there, well, like, yeah, I can get him to like those first 4 points easily. Like, and that's okay. Like, that's not bad. Getting him those first 4 isn't terrible, but like, I'm not getting him any additional minutes. But now that said, like, I have guys retiring. I have guys that are going to age out. I have guys that cap out. Like, for example, like I have a 75 or I have a 65 DM right now. Well, he's clearly above my 56 that I would be bringing to CM, but that guy maxes out in this season. So in like 3 seasons, if I'm playing this other guy, he's going to be ahead of this other guy. But like for the next 3 seasons, he's not going to be. So like having additional teams and being able to move guys down in mints and then letting them play in the lower level and then moving them back up. Because the first season I had my elite level player, that 78 overall CM, I think this is his 6th season. I think I got him because I got promoted originally up to D1. So he was a D1 mint. I think I moved him down to like my 3rd or 4th team that first season. And I just played the shit out of him and trained the shit out of him. And it was like really helpful to sort of expedite the process. And you can't expedite the process as quickly as you used to be able to due to how playing and training and stuff works now compared to what it did 6 seasons ago. But I can sure as shit get a guy a lot more minutes in my D4 team than I can in my D2 team.
Vernon says a trustless loan function would be amazing and help both high teams and low teams. Yeah, I was going to come into like the final stage of the stream for me. It's just like what sort of additions or, features, I guess, that, and we can start on loans if you want, that you would think, would benefit Footium as a game, as an economy in the long run.
Non-game addition, but I would like the ability to be able to just sign in with just a password and like username and then not cash anything out, but just be able to sign in and change my lines. That would be helpful for me at least. From a game perspective, I think that there's a few things that need to be worked out. I don't know the exact answer on all of them. I have ideas and I've relayed them to the team. But the incentive to be relegated does not make much sense to me. That's not a good thing. I think you would agree with that. One thing that I've told them is like, all right, legendary players, they get auctioned. No, you're sure as shit not buying a legendary player in D7. You're not even considering it.
No.
Why is the legendary players money breakdown being given evenly across all the divisions when like effectively the way I look at it is like the mint price of a D2 player goes to a D2 league. a legendary player is basically a D1, D2 mint or D3 mint. Like it's
They're not
never
going to
a
play any
D7
lower.
mint.
Yeah.
Why is a D7 getting 12.5% of that? And I said, I'm like, if you all of a sudden move that around and you pay, I'm not saying you pay 12 spots, but like let's say you pay 12 spots in Division 1. Well, then you're a lot more incentivized to be in Division 1 than to be there, because you're like, oh shit, I'm getting guaranteed. It's no different than like the Premier League. Like the teams in the Premier League want to stay in the Premier League because they get so much money by just being in the Premier League. And I think that's something that makes sense. Also, like I said, I'm like, Division 8, you don't need to pay 7 in Division 8 because some teams maybe aren't that good, or like they're not as, maybe you move it to 4 and you give those 4 more. Like, so if you win Division 8, you get more than now, but like if you finish 6, you don't get anything because like you finish 6th in D8. Like, should you really get something? So I said they could do that. Another feature that I think would be helpful is a loan feature of some kind. I think that would be helpful, especially like the way you could set it up to where it's like, hey, I'm going to loan you this player, but I get 1% of your rewards for the season. Or like 5% of your rewards for the season. And then it's like, hey, and you need to, I mean, this could go with like in your own conversations, but it's like,
conditions,
hey, Harry, I have this elite level dude that I really don't have a spot for. I'll loan him to you for 5%, but make sure he plays a significant amount of the minutes.
Yeah.
And that you train him. You like shit like that. Like, I think that would be a really helpful feature. I think that
custom formations or no?
I think there's plenty of formations. I think that it's fine. I don't think you need more formations. I don't really know what other positions you realistically could use. I think it would be cool to have some players that have like dual positions, but like when you train them, both positions go up. Because like effectively you get a player now and like he's a DM, CM.
He can only be one, basically.
Only one's going to be relevant because you're going to only train him in one. Bullstar brings it up, in-game tactics. I think there could be more in-game tactics that could be utilized. I think that would be cool. Another one, this is more at the higher level. There's some issues with people owning like 4 teams in one league at the higher levels. And it makes it difficult to competitively balance things because you're like, oh, I'm playing my shitty team, and with my good team, I'm just going to rest both, but make sure my good team wins. Whereas like I have to play both of those teams with your best team in, and it becomes trickier. I know they did post something about an update that they were going to work on improving that. So I will say with the team, like I talked to them a couple weeks ago, and yeah, instructions would be great. I would love to see different sort of instructions as well. What I will say with the team is they seem receptive to changes, and they have already made some changes. Like they used to pay 5, they made 7. And like I'll use myself an example. When they moved it from 5 to 7, before they changed it, I was like, yeah, I'm absolutely relegating my team out of D1. When they moved it from 5 to 7, I'm like, oh, I could get like 6 and I get a D1 Academy mints, which you've already seen, like those are much better players.
Valuable.
So I was like, well, shit, if that's the case, then I'm interested to stay. So like it at least changed my decision from like, I'm absolutely relegating.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm at least a little torn on the situation. But again, I think it's bad that it's even that way. It should be like, I don't want to get relegated. And they have to figure out a way to do that. But I think they go through stuff. I think they take feedback from the community. I think the team is relatively small, so they're able to do that, which is great. I think that's a real positive. So I think that's a pretty big positive.
Yeah, that's awesome. Do you ever sell guys that aren't academy mints? Like, would you sell a guy that's got 2 years left or whatever, the situation is?
Yeah, I would sell older players. I would also sell.
Do you actively list though? Sorry, like do you list them, or do you chat to people about them?
I actually listed a couple players today, and I have sold players in the past. Let me open up my OpenSea. I have sold a couple guys in the past that I listed, and I either got an offer for, or they bought outright. And then I've made some deals like with people that I trust that I will send them the player and stuff like that. Yeah, I listed a couple players today. Like last season, I minted a center forward a while ago, like 3 or 4 seasons ago, and I had someone interested in them last season. They actually are like pretty close to like my Nieto. But what happened is I had 3 or 4 dudes that were like super similar. And I was like, I don't really want 3 of them. It just doesn't make sense because I had a lot of other center forwards that just sort of came in. So I minted him a few seasons ago for 0.15, and then I sold him for 0.2, I think.
Interesting. I'm just seeing here a couple of clubs flying off the shelves in the last 24 hours.
Yep. Yeah, I noticed that the clubs were flying, players were flying. But yeah, like I sold a older player. I've sold some older players as well, like over the last few seasons. So I've done that. I've sold people via talking to people on Discord. Discord's obviously the easiest because you just talk to someone and be like, hey, if you want someone. Yeah, if anyone ever wants someone from me, or you have a player that I may be interested in, feel free to DM me. I typically don't buy old players. I'm not really interested in buying an older guy yet. That may change when my guys are more in their prime, and like buying an older guy for a position of need is valuable. Right now, I'm not there, but I typically do. But like Harry, you and I can talk if there's any guys you want to buy, because
for sure
I definitely will have dudes that would be helpful to you in my clubs.
You should I've made a part of my Discord like a Footium section now. This just like anyone can come in, and I've got a few different channels in there that has been used for people like displaying their like their unused academy guys, and people are like, anyone want these academy guys, blah blah blah. So there's a nice little community growing over there if you want to join.
You'll have to send me the link to the
Discord. I will. I was just looking there. A legendary card just sold, or player, sorry, an hour ago.
Yeah, they had the 3 legendary auctions. What did they go for? I didn't see what they went for this season.
So this centre back, left back DM, 97 max rating, went for 0.7.
Yep. Yeah, like see like that. Can you hover over him again real quick?
Yeah.
I just want to see him. So he's starting out as a 60. So yeah, so like that's a pretty nice card. It's a great position too. So like eventually, like I could see me wanting a card like that, just not yet.
Didn't some of them go for like crazy money the last
the first couple seasons they went for 2 or 3 ETH, and I don't think they should have. I think them going between around the 1 ETH range is more reasonable. It looks like these guys went for 0.64, and then what's the other one?
0.67 for an AM.
Yeah, so nice. But he starts a lot higher. So I think like stuff like that's a perfect example. Like that AM, like in a couple seasons, that's an interesting card to me. Right now, it's not. So it's just a matter of like, but again, it goes back to what I was saying of like, why is D8 getting a significant amount of that mint price? Because it just doesn't matter. And also like 0.15 ETH over 80 leagues is nothing. But like in D2, like you getting like a quarter of that is helpful to the prize pool.
No, 100%. Because that was the reason why I wanted to skip D8 personally, because one, the prizes obviously weren't that lucrative there at that point, and two, there's just a ton of zombie teams, so I wouldn't really get many reps in. Like I wanted to play against actual people and have actual challenges. Like, and I don't get me wrong, there was a few zombie teams in my league. I won't dispute that, but there wasn't like 7. There was
which goes back to the point too of like, why does D8 getting 7 play spots give it 4?
Yeah, if there's 8 zombies, why are zombies getting? Yeah, I get you.
But like I don't want to. This is probably where I'll get like the you're only thinking of whales type of thing, but I'm really not. Like
No, I get it though.
You got to have incentive for people to. My main incentive is people should want to play in a higher division, not you want to get relegated. And anyone that's playing legitimately today is intentionally relegating some teams somewhere.
Some team somewhere, and that shouldn't really be the case, is what you're arguing.
Like you just shouldn't be wanting that.
No, I get it. No, I think we covered quite a lot there. Well, the next time we get together, Sean, the season would have started, so we might be able to do like a first quarter, first fifth of the season type of episode next week, which I'm looking forward to.
Depending on what time we do it, there might be game time. I think some of my games are around this time.
Yeah, I think I'm D6 looks like it's 10 a.m. here, so yeah.
Mine are probably 2 p.m., but my D4 and D5 are at so my games are between noon and 3, it looks like, Eastern.
Okay, because you wouldn't really want to. Well, you wouldn't have to be on the screen, but I was thinking
I'd be fine with it. I'd be fine streaming a game. So if we get to that point, we can stream a game. I'll do it. That's fine.
Yeah, we could do that maybe next week.
Yep, sounds good. But yeah, I think if anyone has any questions before we get off, feel free to
Yeah,
post real quick. But yeah, no, I'm enjoying it. I think it's pretty fun. I think that there is one thing I like about it is that I think you can spend a boatload of time on it, but also if you don't want to spend a boatload of time, you can get away with that too. Like if you have a busy day and you spend 10 minutes on it, that's fine. If you have a day where you're just sitting on the couch, not really doing much, and you want to spend 4 hours on stuff, I think you can do that too. So I like that. Like So Rare, you can't not spend a shitload of time on So Rare, especially when it comes to building lives. Like you have to spend a shitload of time. So I like that there is both the possibility to spend time and then also like you can sort of not spend a lot of time at the same time. Like I think both of those are pretty intriguing.
No, for sure. Like in season, you're basically just watching your game and you know changing your training guys out if you're training across the day. That's all you're really doing unless there's a little transfer window or whatever, you move guys around.
Yeah.
But yeah, in season is probably where it's least time sensitive. It's probably now is where you could spend you could spend whatever you kind of want on it really.
Yeah, this couple days, I mean, typically I would have done this already by now, but I was out of town, so I just got back last night. So like today, I will go through mint the guys that I want to mint, and then look through my spreadsheet, decide if I need anyone at certain positions. If I do, I bring them in, and then I will go through and rearrange my players to the club. So like I'll do that over the next couple of days, and like you said, it'll take me a good chunk of time. But once the season starts, I'm not doing that as frequently.
Right. Yeah. It's prepping, and then you can kind of enjoy it. Then you enjoy the games, basically, you know, throughout the season. All right. Well, it's been fun. I don't think we've got any questions yet, but if there's any, we'll obviously answer them. But yeah, no, that was fun. I appreciate your time, mate. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and good luck with the academy mints.
For sure. Have a good one, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate you, lads. We'll catch you next week.